Alrighty, let's go through the 10.2 PTR patch notes for this week. Ooh, excuse me. There's some cool stuff, there's some interesting stuff in there, so we're just going to kind of go through it. But we'll be starting with Warrior, because that is what I know the most of, and we'll be starting with Arms. This is the only change Arms received. It is that when the Bleed is reapplied from the Sudden Death proc from the 2-piece, because of the 4-piece set, when it procs, applies a bleed for 50% of executes damage. So that's just basically kind of making it so it doesn't either not apply, or it's essentially just kind of fixing it, right? Because it was currently problematic with how it worked, because you would get procs and then those procs would just waste themselves. It doesn't fix that Arms will still sudden death proc, potentially proc again before, like you'll get a normal sudden death proc, and then you'll proc again from the 2-piece set bonus, and you'll end up wasting a proc because of how execute does not apply the damage instantly or the effect instantly. It has a weird delay, so it doesn't fix that, but it just says, hey man, look, the bleed will reapply on itself and do more damage, so it's a little bit of a buff slightly, so that's good at least, but no other Arms changes. Honestly, what I would like to see for Arms is, I don't really think they can put it in the base class tree, because that doesn't make much sense, but in the Arms tree specifically, I would potentially like to see them add maybe buff this passive here, this improved slam passive, by increasing the amount of rage that costs to cast slam as well. Like, I don't know, make it cost 10 or 20 more rage, and then also increase the critical strike damage potentially. Basically just buff this talent, change this talent. I think it should make Slam cost more, so Slam's a more effective GCD spender than Thunderclap is. Because without everything talented, so here's the fun part. So if we untalent this, right? Or won't let me show it. But basically, even still now in our spellbook, Slam received a buff. Slam does 8.6k and Rend does 10k. That is only with 1 point into Bloodborne. So if we take 7.5% off that, Rend on application still does more damage than Slam, which is a very big problem. And realistically, because of how tight Arms is on talent points, we're not really taking improved Slam, we're not really taking Crushing Force either. So to really make this talent viable, I think that improved Slam needs to be buffs changed to make it cost more rage and do more damage, etc., etc., for this to be a worthwhile spender in our Colossal Smash window. Because right now, it's still just worse. Even with the 25% buff, it is still worse. Yeah, you could maybe take points in Crushing Force, but when you take points in Crushing Force, you lose out on other very good talents. So our talent economy is pretty bad for Arms. And it's even worse when we start looking at the side of the tree. Because if we were to want any of these capstones at a lower value cost than these 2-point talents soaking up, like if we could get both of these to turn into 1 points, we would actually have way more freedom in our tree. Because the only 1 point that extends to our capstones is this one. But if we take this one, we don't get Ashen Juggernaut, because nothing would flink to it here, or we don't get Battle Lord, both of which are very, very good. And I think these both need to be reworked into 1-point talents to make them, basically just to make the whole spec tree flow better. I think it's currently a problem with how Arms' tree is very, very stringent on talent points compared to some other trees. Now we get to the Fury changes, right? Bloodbath's cooldown was not correctly synced with Bloodthirst during the redesign of Reckless Abandon for the Dragonfly talent system. This has led to an unintended outcome where certain builds can allow Bloodbath and Bloodthirst to dominate a rotation due to be extremely short unlinked cooldowns. We are currently correcting this oversight to allow other builds in rotation options, Room to Breathe, and Guardians of the Dream. Fucking terrible. So they already had this happen at the beginning of the expansion with Crushing Blow. Crushing Blow has charges instead of a specific cooldown, so it's kind of different. But at the beginning of the expansion, you just Rampage, crushing blow, rampage, crushing blow, crushing blow, rampage, crushing blow, crushing blow. That's just kind of how it worked. It worked the same exact way here, but now instead, because Bloodthirst is a cooldown, no matter what you do, even with this talent here, it makes it very clunky to play. So it reduces Bloodthirst cooldown by 1.5, but Bloodbath's cooldown is even shorter than that. So you see it's at 2.2. Let's pop all our shit. Rampage. Now, when we Bloodbath, it goes on a 1.6 second cooldown, but our GCD is actually slower than that. So now, instead of having a gameplay flow that's built around Bloodthirst, again, having a Bloodthirst talent tree, you can no longer Rampage, Bloodthirst, because the cooldown in between your global cooldown is slow enough, or sorry, your global cooldown is fast enough, then now it's like, oh, now you have to Rampage, Bloodthirst, Slam, Bloodthirst, Whirlwind, Bloodthirst. Because to get all 3 crits from Odin's Fury, right, you'd Odin Fury, Rampage, Bloodthirst, Slam, Bloodthirst. I mean, I guess what they're trying to do is something like this, where when you're getting the 3 Odin's Fury crits, right, you're going Rampage, crit, Slam, crit, Rampage, crit. Is maybe what they're thinking of doing in terms of, like, the feel of the gameplay. But we already know from ARMS that Slam is a terrible talent. Even with 100% increased damage, Slam still only does 14k. Fucking terrible. Whirlwind, which is on a shorter cooldown than Slam, does more damage than Slam. And if you're running AoE talents, also applies Improved Whirlwind. So the AoE talent does more damage single target than Slam. Slam is just a fucking terrible button. So now what we're going to... This is what our rotation would be. Come up, pop this. Whirlwind. Rampage. Slam. Bloodthirst. The whole rotation feels dog shit now. It feels fucking bad, man. It actually feels pretty bad. This rotation feels bad. It felt better when it was literally Rampage, Bloodthirst, Rampage, Bloodthirst. It felt better to play. And the problem is that now, like I show what we're running into, is you get this, you hit that, you get this, you hit this, you hit this, you hit that, you Bloodthirst, and now what? You don't have another, so you Rampage again. I don't know. See, in that situation, where both Whirlwind and Slam were on cooldown, so right here, both Whirlwind and Slam are on cooldown, and my Bloodbath was also on cooldown. So when you're running with this, you're going to run into very awkward stents of your talent trees, where you're going to be, you just don't have, like, you're either wasting Reckless Abandon, so like you're either going to be wasting Reckless Abandon, or what other button do we even have to press? What other button do we have to press? We have Slam, we have Whirlwind, we have Rampage. I mean, I guess we have Thunderous Roar, but like that's it. But we're running into a situation where we're actually actively wasting Reckless Abandon procs. Because even trying to do this optimally, all right, here, we'll do it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now I can't hit Bloodbath on cooldown. I don't have enough rage for Rampage. Both Slam and Whirlwind are on cooldown. What the fuck am I supposed to press? Like, it's bad. It's bad. It feels bad. It is designed bad. It is not thought through correctly. Warriors were complaining about this Rampage into Bloodthirst shit because it was just Rampage, Bloodthirst, because it was like, oh, this is way too simple. And then, what the fuck? That's weird. It's like, oh, this is way too simple. But even though it was simple, It was still effective and pretty good, and the problem is we're losing a button running Annihilator. We're putting any sort of... we're putting these two buttons on a longer cooldown because of Sword of Storms, because we have to take Sword of Storms for Annihilator, because we have to go to the left side of the tree because we're building this for Bloodthirst. And then because we have to take Odin's Fury because of the tier set. Now, okay, so we're taking that, we're taking Odin's Fury, we're taking this, and it just doesn't work together. Fury does not work correctly together. It just doesn't. If they want this Annihilator playstyle to exist, they have to revert the change and just let it be Raging Blow, Bloodthirst, 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 like it's fucking been. Otherwise, it's gonna feel like dog shit. It's just gonna feel terrible, because we just don't have a button to press. There is no button to press here. And I am depressed playing this. Like, they either need to scrap it or just revert it and say, guess what, we fucked up, we don't have enough time to fix it, you're gonna hit these two buttons for the rest of the tier. And if it's good, I don't mind playing that, right? If it's good, I don't mind playing that. But it's in a really bad spot. Fury Warrior is in a really bad spot with how they've really pushed us into this. And if like I talked about before, if they made Single-Minded Fury a base talent inside the Fury tree and just replaced both of these with something potentially better, I mean, once again, every single thing is capped by 2 points. 2 points here, 2 points here, 2 points here. So, I mean, all of our good talents are capped by 2-point nodes. So, I mean, even if this was fixed, we might not even take it. Maybe we could put something from Vicious Contempt in there. But we need this crit talent because we're not going to be running a lot of crit to keep our 2-piece rolling. And then because we're going to have a lot of this bleed damage shit, we're obviously going to run Bloodborne, so we have to run Odin's Fury. It's just... it doesn't work together right now. It's the same problem with ARMS, where ARMS just... it's almost there, but it just doesn't flow together well. ARMS needs a good spender. If they want Slam to be the button, let Slam be the button, but it needs a good spender. Pre-35% execute phase is what ARM really needs. Just change the improved Slam talent, make it cost more rage, give us a decent spender in that CS window, because they took away Ignore Pain. Because it feels dog shit to have just all this rage and, like, we can't press anything with it. And now, it's like, okay, well, if ARMS feel bad, I'll play Fury. But now Fury doesn't help, because with this talent build, with this tier set, we're forced, if we want to play efficiently, into this Annihilator talent, which removes a button from us, and then puts everything else on cooldown. And now, because Bloodthirst cooldown does not reset itself like it was doing with Bloodbath before, now you're having situations where you're just straight up losing globals, and the only thing that could have saved me from not losing globals there is if for some reason I had enough rage in that moment to rampage again. And even in that moment, I would still be rampaging and losing a cast of Bloodbath with Reckless Abandon. The entire fucking thing works against itself, man. It is a massive, massive problem. It needs to be looked into. Otherwise, both of these specs and Warrior in general is probably going to feel really fucking bad to play. And that just kind of sucks. This has nothing to do with how much damage it does. It just has everything to do with that. It just feels bad to play. And that really needs... it just needs some fucking help, man. And we're running out of time before the next tier to get that help. So that's why I'm making videos like these where I'm talking about this shit, because we need help. Like, we really need help. Now that I've done complaining about Warrior, because I just want it to play good, man. I just want it to play good. I really wish it did. Let's see. Everbloom, cool. DK set changes. I don't play DK yet. I leveled my DK, my Hunter. I'll be playing them more upcoming, so maybe I'll have more to talk about with my DK and my Survival Hunter, because I think those will be fun. Probably playing 200 Frost to Blit. The Demon Hunter changes. They changed this. Spectral Sight cooldown reduced to 30 seconds, and Haste now affects its global cooldown. Sick. Demonic duration from Demon Form reduced to 5 seconds was sick. That's fine. We already have enough uptime with our new 2-minute talents with everything else going on, so this is totally fine. Elysian Decree has been moved to the Demon Hunter class tree. This is really interesting. I have not copied my DH over yet, so I don't know what this actually looks like. But Elysian Decree was used by a lot of Vengeance Demon Hunters, and now that it's in the class tree, I think that'll make it far more interesting because they're changing a lot of shit with Vengeance. And will this be good for DPS DK? Probably not. The Hunt is still pretty good and useful in single target, so I'll probably still be using the Hunt. Fodder the Flame has been moved. Fodder the Flame now increases Spectral Sight cooldown by 30 seconds in addition to previous effect. So Spectral Sight cooldown is now 30 seconds, but it now gains... Now it's a minute cooldown, but it lets you proc your demon to get 20% bonus damage whenever you want on a minute cooldown, affected by haste. Cool. That's fine. That's good. As long as we have a way to control our burst window, especially in Lust at the start. Very good. Very good. Good change. Hunt initial damage and damage over time increased. Okay, big Hunt buffs. Hunt's pretty good. Pretty cool. I'm assuming this is happening because they want... Maybe there's going to be a situation where the Hunt is going to be your single target, and then Elysian Decree might be your AoE for like a Mythic Plus talent or something, depending on how good they are, so they needed to buff this in comparison. Sigil of Flame is now base. Okay, cool. That saves a talent point. Dude, this talent tree is going to look nuts because the top right of the baseline tree was Sigil of Flame. Initial damage increased. Alright, cool. New talent lived by the glaive. When you parry an attack or have one of your attacks parried, restore 2% max health and 10 fury. That's actually... May occur once every 5 seconds. That's actually pretty good. That's a baseline talent, but it's going to be mainly a vengeance talent. Unnatural Malice, Relentless Pursuit, Ascended Sigils, and Misery and Defeat have been removed. Interesting. Okay. What Misery and Defeat was, it was a... So for these talents, actually, we can just go to live real quick. And then, actually, I could just bring up the, we'll go to the talent tree on Wowhead. Let me just look at the live versions of it. What's the... Oh, it's Shift. So, let's see... The Sigil of Misery is staying. Unnatural Malice, Relentless Pursuit. Let's see. Where is Relentless Pursuit? That's just Pursuit. Where's Relentless Pursuit? Extended Sigil. Oh, wait, was it up here? Because they removed... This is going to be baseline, so they're changing this. Unnatural... I'm looking for... Because they're in the base of the talent trees, so I'm assuming that they are... Oh, there we go. Oh, so they're... Oh, so they just baked in Unnatural Malice just as increase the damage over time effect of the Hunt by 30%. That's just baked in, so they removed it, so it's not stacking on itself. Relentless Pursuit, reduced by 12 seconds. Okay, so that's removed. That Capstone talent is removed. Extended Sigils. So this is removed. Duration of Sigils removed, and we'll see why that was removed later. Because you can increase the duration of Sigils by 2 seconds, and Misery and Defeat. So Misery and Defeat was removed. In Mythic Plus, you would actually use Misery and Defeat in your burst window, where you would put Sigil of Misery down, and you use it as like a 2-minute cooldown, to where you would put it down, everything in the Mythic Plus, everything that could be affected by it. So this doesn't affect bosses. This 20% damage bonus for Misery and Defeat did not affect bosses. So you would put this down, the whole pack would get 20% increased damage. You would just I-Beam, Essence Rush, Blade Dance, Meta Blade Dance, and you would do a shitload of damage. So we're losing 20% increased damage on a 2-minute cooldown in a pack, but we're also gaining 2-minute in form of meta, so I mean it's fine. They're also reworking the whole tree, so I'll have to see what that looks like. Unrestrained Fury is now 2, increased max Fury, okay. That's just a buff, gain another talent point. Shadow Restoration was 1 talent increase, Shadow Start healing by 10%. Alright, that's just a buff, 1 more talent point. Illidari Knowledge, slight adjustments. So 5%, 5%. So, I mean, that's just more talent. Like, look at the amount, like you heard I talked about Warrior, but look at the amount of talent point economy that Demon Hunter is getting. And this is just in the base tree. This is going to be just in the base tree, and they had a ton of talent point economy in their alt tree, too. So they're getting, and once again, 2 point. Oh, this is now a 2 point was run. Sigil of Fame deals increased damage and generates fury per second. Okay, so this is probably going to be more of a tank talent. Quicken Sigils no longer reduces the cooldown of Sigil skills. So it's just they activate faster. So they're removing Sigil uptime, but here's the reason why they're removing Sigil uptime when they go, and we're going to just skip to Vengeance really quick. Sigil of Flame initial damage and multiple actions of Sigil of Flame may overlap. Sigil skills have an additional charge of 20% increased chance to parry from enemies affected by Sigil of Flame. So they're nerfing these baseline Sigil talents because they're buffing the absolute shit out of them for Vengeance. Let's see. This is just more talent point economy for Vengeance. Once again, more talent point economy. More talent point economy. Chains of Anger now increases duration of Sigil effects by 2 seconds in addition to its previous effect. So Chains of... So we're going to go to Vengeance. Chains. Chains of Anger? Yep. So now Chains of Anger is going to have the extended Sigil effect. So they're increased by 2 seconds. And they're going to have the radius increased as well. So in Demon Hunters, Vengeance Demon Hunters basically just gained a shitload of talent points. And now Extended Sigils works with this because Extended Sigils is now part of their defensive rotation. And a Soul Carver buff. Let's look at the Havoc changes. Dancing with Fate now 1 point. Dancing with Fate. Did they just get rid of this talent? Oh. Blind Fury now increases Blade Dance's final slash by 25%. So wait, so is Blind Fury going to have... Honestly, we can swap over to the PTR version of this. And go to Havoc. So does Blind Fury... Where'd they move Blind Fury to? Oh, so they reverted it. Wait. Blind Fury now increases Blade Dance final slash damage bonus by 50%. So did they... Is this updated? I don't know if this is updated yet. You know what? Let's do a quick check. We can do a quick check because we can. Let's make my DH. We're just going to look at the skill trees real quick. Because I don't know if this is updated correctly yet. It might not be. Don't care, shut up. So... Okay, so now we just have both of these. So now... Dancing Fate used to be... Damage and duration. So they reverted this talent. So now this talent is back. And then they brought back 2 point... This is a typo, I think. So they reverted this change, brought it back to what it was, and then this is now a 2-point talent. Dancing with Fate is now back to being a 2-point talent for 50% for the 50% damage bonus on the final slash. Okay, so they're readjusting their point economy again, because I guess they're getting too much. New talent, Demon Hide increases magic damage dealt by 5%, reduces physical damage taken by 5%. Huh, where is that? What is that? Demon Hide. Seems like something that'd be... Fire Fairy, looks to kill. Demon Hide. Magic damage increased by 5%, and physical damage taken reduced by 5%. I mean, that's... Depending on what the fight is, that does have tick rate. With our new talent setup, we're probably running Soul Rend a lot of the time. And with Soul Rend, I guess we would want the increased magic damage because it is the 5%. Weird. I haven't sat and built a talent tree yet, so we might have to do that later. New talent, Dash of Chaos. For 2 seconds after using Fel Rush, activating a dam will dash you back towards your initial location. Oh, this thing. Okay, you know what? We can test it. We are here. So your Fel Rush either does... So you're sacrificing... must spend all available points. Okay. Honestly, we're just gonna throw in whatever. I don't really... Oh, so fodder is baseline talent now. We're literally just gonna throw this shit in. I am not paying attention to any of this. So now So here's the real question, though. Something I actually do need to go test, which is we have to go to org for this, unfortunately. When you dash backwards, does it do the damage again, and does it proc momentum again? So that's the dash backwards. I'm assuming it does not give you a second stack of... Well, actually, we do need to change the talent to pick up momentum so we can see whether or not it's actually doing that. I need any random mount. Because if it gives both... I don't think it does, and I don't think it should. But if you actually get 2 sets of momentum with this, it might actually be an overall damage increase over improved Fel Rush damage. But we'll have to see. So we have our target here. Fel Rush forward, does the damage, gives momentum, Fel Rush back. It does the damage and gives momentum! What? Okay, that's... Okay, that's actually... That's insane. That's actually insane, because... What? What? I'm sorry. Like... And it can crit, and it... Oh my... So, okay. I don't know if it's meant to work that way, but it's giving you 2 stacks of momentum, 2 dashes for the price of 1, and it replaces you at your point of origin. So, like, if I dash... Let's see if it dashes me backwards specifically, or to my point of origin. So we'll say, like, here, right? So we'll dash here. Oh, wow. So it's trying to get me back to where I was. Okay, so no matter... Okay, that's actually interesting, too. It's trying to get... It dashes you the max distance back to your point of origin. It does not matter whether or not you're facing it. So we'll dash here, and then if I look directly where I came from... Oh, I think I wasted the charge. So, and then I'll look where I came from. Yeah, it'll dash you back towards your point of origin. So if you're doing this in a fight... Oh, dude, that's so cool. And it gives momentum. Oh, my God. Bro, that's actually just insane. Not sure why I'm getting skip framed on this recording, but apologies if there's issues. But no, don't need it. Yeah, so that's actually fucking insane. Okay. All right, I didn't think it was gonna give you both. It gave you both damage and momentum stacks. That's fucking crazy. All right. Okay. They're cooking something up on there, man. Holy fuck. This is insane. I really like it a lot. It's one of my favorites. Okay. New talent, Scars of Suffering, increasing versatility by 4%, reducing threat generated by 8%. This is just... I think this goes towards helping Demon Hunters with their overall survivability. Because did they still give us the talent where we get a barrier while blade dancing? I think that's what they removed, right? They might have removed that. Let's just... No, the barrier is still there. Where's that barrier talent? The barrier talent's... Okay, this. Okay, so now we can either take... Okay, so that's a better point for this. This talent here, Mortal Dance, used to be right here as an additional talent. So now we still have this. Alright. So they just changed some shit with that. Okay, cool. That's... Okay, but that's insane. So by adding stuff like this, where we have increase... We're getting a small barrier during this. You saw the little blip on the edge. So we're getting little overall barriers. We're getting these... Where is this new talent? Scars of Suffering. Oh, it's right here. So now it is just... What was this talent before? Okay, so they moved Improved Fell Rush here after removing Demonic Appetite and put it with the dash back. And then where it was, Scar of Suffering is now. So now they're just increasing... This does increase our damage, but it does overall help with our raid survivability as well, which is good, each time you deal chaos damage, there's a chance to duplicate 33% of the damage. Up to 3 to 7 total times. What? Bro, what the fuck are they cooking with this class? They're making all of our damage, like, do that, now multiply, and holy shit, dude, this class is gonna be nuts. Buff Fell Barrage, buff Eye Beam. Isolated Play now kills Immolation Aura to always critically strike. That is nice, because if you're using Immo Aura on single target, and let's say you're wanting to have, like, a boss build, like, this can work on Mythic Plus, right? Where you're, let's say, basically it's just more boss damage, right? I-Beam, more boss damage. Immolation Aura, more boss damage, especially when hitting one target. So that's good. It's just better single target, which is nice. Throw Glaive now triggers Cycle of Hatred's effect when Furious Throws is selected. So Furious Throws. Where is Furious Throws? Furious Throws is here. So now it... Cycle of Hatred's effect. Where is Cycle of Hatred? Hatred. Oh, so now Glaive Throw reduces the cooldown of I-Beam even more, so it is a single target buff. Oh, god damn it. No. Where is the patch notes? Oh god. I have to refine them. I accidentally exited out of them. Apologies, apologies. Where'd they go, where'd they go, where'd they go? Okay, cool. We're back. We're so back. Shattered Destiny now increases Demon Form duration per 10. Fury was 8. This is once again because they're adjusting our Metamorphosis timing. They're reducing the amount of time we spend in Demon Form through Demonic and through Meta by increasing the amount of Fury cost for Demon Form, as well as reducing the amount we get from Demonic. I think one of the reasons why they let us have so much time in Demon Form specifically was because of the amount of leech we get from Demon Form as a quote-unquote defensive. But now that they're adding all of these newer talents, like the physical damage taken reduced, the barrier reduced, the versatility reduced, that might be too much on top of the amount of extra leech that we're getting in a consistent manner with Metamorphosis. So now that they're letting Metamorphosis be more... what's the right word? Now that we might have less uptime in Metamorphosis, it lets them give us a little more power overall in terms of survivability. So I think those are good changes. We talked about Vengeance. I'm not talking about Druid because I don't play Druid. Not talking about this. Prescience now clears on raid encounter. Okay, the reason why this was happening is because there was a really cringe strat involved of having really long intro time. Like, basically, you'd be able to set up a bunch of presciences, and you'd have this really fucking long countdown to let the augmentation evokers set up all their shit for every pull, which is super unhealthy for the game and not something anyone would realistically be doing. So now they're changing it to, hey, you have 2 charges, you can do this shit on pull, but you're not setting up this autistic garbage. You're not doing that. Cool. Devastation's getting a bit of magic damage taken reduction buff, so they're just kind of helping their overall survivability. Same thing with this. Hunter's Mark now increases all damage taken by the target by 5% while the target is above 80% max health. It is cool, but it is honestly not good enough. It's not a Chaos brand, it's not Battle Shout, it's not Mystic Touch. If they want to give Hunters a Ray buff, I don't think this is it. Realistically, what I think Hunter's Mark should be is, instead of this just boring increased damage, they should nerf it to the target takes 3% increased chance to be critically struck. Like, the mark that is Hunter's Mark, because you can only have one Hunter's Mark up at a time, that main target should have 3% chance to be crit. So even if you want a little extra prio damage on, say, like an ad, or like you're talking about P3 Sark with the Recollection, you can change your Hunter's Mark to the ad if you're having trouble with that. You shouldn't really at this point, but if you did have trouble with it, you can change the Hunter's Mark to the ad to get 3% extra crit chance on that ad for just a bit more priority damage. Nobody in the raid's bringing increased crit chance or crit damage. So I think on Hunter's Mark adding... because what they're doing here is Hunter's Mark would just be adding damage, it's not adding healing or defensives. I think it would be fine to change this to adding a 3% crit chance to the target at a flat rate while Hunter's Mark is active. And the whole while above 80% thing, I think is just very weird. Everything else works the whole fight. There's no reason you either want it to work or you don't want it to be nearly as strong. But I think that should just work the whole boss encounter. It should be considered a raid buff. It should be something you can use to priority target, and it should be, instead of just flat damage, just make it crit chance. Maybe drop it to like 2-3%, and I think that'd be good. I think that'd be way better than what it is now, and still really give them a raid spot. I think it'd be way, way cooler. Hunter's Mark has no cooldown. When implied in combat, it received a 20-second cooldown. This is just so you don't have a bunch of weird degenerate gameplay revolved around it, which is fine. Multiple hunters cannot stack this damage bonus to the same target. It's fine. It can only be applied. A Hunter's Mark should only be applied once. But like I said, I think it should be crit. I looked into survival a little bit. These changes are pretty good. Previously, your Forset, which using Eagle's Fury or Fury of the Eagle would generate a Wildfire Bomb charge. What it would eventually do is you would just lose a cast of Wildfire Bomb because it would just you'd be at your top stack and then it would just give you another one, but you just wouldn't get it. So it'd just be a loss. You just lose an entire bomb, which sucks. So instead of that, now causes your next Wildfire Bomb to not consume a charge, so now it just gives you a stack. Please do this to Arms Warrior's Sudden Death. Please do this. Just give us 2 charges or something, dude. Please give Arms that treatment for the Sudden Death procs on the 2-piece. Please, it would be so much better. Please. Mage, I'm not talking about Mage because I don't know Mage. I don't know Monk. I don't know Windwalker. Sanctified Plates is now 40% less effective on Holy specifically, but I believe Sanctified Plates is their... Isn't that their, like, a fucking avoidance talent or whatever? Like, if we go to Ret, it's, like, up here. Where is it? Sanctified Plates. Was it Holy specific? I don't think so. Season I thought Sanctified Plates was pretty early on. Am I wrong? Yeah, there it is. Armor increase, Ret, stamina increase, damage taken increase, holy armor increase. So they get the stamina and the damage reduction taken, but it's just the armor that got slapped. So I guess they just meant the armor, not the stamina. Actually, no, it is stamina too. Wow, that's a very odd, specifically targeted nerf to just holy. Because of the amount of stuff you get as Ret, you're kind of like unkillable as Ret too. So I kind of expected maybe Ret would get that treatment, but maybe they don't want to do that just yet. One thing that was interesting, this is also a take directly from watching Max's stream, because obviously his takes influence mine because I respect his opinion. Holy's kind of been... People want blood for Holy, but I think the main problem is Holy was pretty mana efficient, especially with Rashok, so you could just keep going. And because they took over the spot in Mythic Plus, because they also had Diva Aura on top of a Battle Res, people just want Holy to be bad now. Because they're just like, fuck Holy, I can't heal in dungeons, they won't let me play the game, fuck Holy. Also, the solo queue Mythic Plus video that I have coming up will address this topic as well, because I think specific targeted to meta comps from Mythic Plus is stupid, outside of them being egregiously broken everywhere. So I find this change very weird. I don't think it should have been just Holy. If it was Holy and Ret and then left protection to have that extra bonus, I think that'd be good. But I find it weird that it's just Holy. I don't know anything about this shit, so I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it. I don't know enough about Rogue to talk about it. They're doing a whole bunch of shaman shit. Not going to talk about it. And then we already talked about the Fury shit. And I don't know enough about Warlock to talk about it. PvP stuff. But yeah, these are pretty juicy patch notes, really. This video is fucking 43 minutes. Holy shit. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on how it's going. It's very... I honestly would like to talk more about these other class changes. I just honestly don't know enough. I just simply don't know enough to talk about these things, and if I'm going to say something, I don't want to miss